Hi, my name is Michael Seabaugh. I'm the author of the novel Gwendolyn and Eddie, and I'm very pleased to announce that a beautiful audiobook has been made of this novel because of Pamela Dillman, the twice nominated for an Audie and the winner of last year's Sobus Award for Outstanding Narration and Humor. So I'm very fortunate to have found her and to have her narrate my book. Welcome,
Thank
Pamela.
you.
How are
Thank
you?
you so much. I'm so well, very happy to be here chatting to you about this wonderful book.
Thank you. I'm so pleased that you did it. And tell me, you've got lots of experience, obviously, doing this. And what was it like doing this particular book? And were there any particular challenges that you encountered?
I honestly cannot say anything about it was a challenge. I really loved working on this book and related to it in so many ways, even though it's not my exact generation. I'm a child of the generation of the main character in terms of age. But Gwendolyn starts at quite a young age as a youngish mom, and then it evolves and goes through to her older years. And
Mm,
there was just so much about that journey that I
mm.
really resonated with and related to. And no, I cannot honestly say that there was a challenge about it. I loved it, Michael.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. When I can tell you're a trained actress, and I would like to hear a little bit about your background, but when I heard your voice, because we went through an audition process, right? I found you on a online audition site. And once I heard your voice, I knew that you were the one because you sounded like Gwendolyn, how she sounds in my head. You had that voice. What about that?
Yes, that's a big aspect of how we are cast in the
Uh,
audiobook world is how our natural speaking tone resonates with the main character or the main theme of the book sometimes.
right.
And it happens that because I'm a child of that generation, I think I speak the way that my parents trained me to speak. My mother is actually English, the most well-elocuted person I have ever known. And my father was a renowned actor. And
Yeah, right.
so there is an aspect to my upbringing as well as my training that
Mm,
includes articulation. And I think that that's personified in that generation a little bit more than
mm.
in today's world. Yeah. So
Yeah, and you captured it beautifully.
thank you.
So just for people who have not read the book spans the years 1957 through mostly through the 80s, and then there's a last chapter in 2016, and it carries the main character Gwendolyn through, like you said, when she was a young mom to her deathbed, basically. And so there's a quite a arc there, and there are other characters in the book, obviously, too, that are, although the point of view character is Gwendolyn. So how did you do the other? I'm always fascinated when I hear audiobooks and the narrator, the voice artist, does these different voices and distinguishes them.
Yeah, that is more of an expectation in today's world than it used to be. We are there is a more of an emphasis or I think a listener's expectation that we lend a little bit more than we used to in the way
Mhm,
of character distinction and empathetic point of views and things like that. So for
mhm,
me, that is a beautiful thing. I love it. And
mhm,
it gives me more freedom in my narration to do what comes instinctively. And my voice is naturally relatively low and has some gravel to it. So
mhm.
not that every male voice is lower than a female's voice by any means, but I don't have problem with men's voices.
No, you don't. You.
And no, and I love dialects. I love character.
Mm,
So I just, every audiobook narrator will go through a preparation process. When we get the
mhm,
manuscript, We always read it once through and make notes according to where people come from. We might even need to
Mm.
reach out to the author sometimes. So we do the prep work, we decide on backgrounds, perhaps accents, but mostly those decisions are about sort of an empathetic point of view that we have.
Mm.
It's not necessarily about changing our voices. It's about, although
Mm.
it can be, it could be just a slight tonal shift because
Right.
you picture that person in a different way.
I've read your bio, and you're a very well trained actor. You were trained classically, it sounds like, at RADA,
Mhm.
Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London,
Yeah.
and have been theater, film, etc. What I want to say this about that, I noticed you weren't like acting in the audiobook, but you were sometimes not so subtle, but changes, that indicated and distinguished the characters. And I thought you did a beautiful job of that because this novel has these kind of upper middle class family is it's focused on them, but there's this country couple. There's a black woman that's very prominent in this novel, and you would, like you said, tone and I guess point of view. It seemed magical to me in a way,
Oh, I'm
but
so
I'm
glad
sure
to hear it.
there was a lot of craft in that. You don't actually act out the roles, right?
It is different from if we were doing it on camera or on stage. It's still truthful acting, but there is a reason to train as an audiobook narrator. There is a reason one should expect that in as much as if we hope to get a job on a TV series, we should learn how to act for the camera. If we've only ever acted for the stage, if you want to be an audiobook narrator, you should train with an audiobook narrator
Mm,
instructor, and there are great ones, including Scott Brick, one of the most prolific narrators in our business, who teaches
mm,
at UCLA. There are whole college courses in this now
yeah, yeah.
because you don't want the listener to take a step back and go, wow, she's so emotional there, and it's not about the narrator. We are
You
painting.
don't want to draw attention to the,
No.
how the
We are
sausage is
painting a
made.
picture, right? And that's when you know you're listening to a good narrator, is when you're along for the ride and you can visualize the picture that's being painted. And
Mm,
part of that for me as a narrator does involve lending the character a strong point of view. Hopefully, an
mm.
audiobook narrator does not get in the way of the listener and become too performative.
That's very interesting. I thought you did that really, really well. So you're also a producer. You have a company called Unforgotten Books. And tell us about how you became a audiobook narrator and a producer. What was that journey like, and where are you now in
Okay.
that?
Well, I started as an actor trained in England, trained classically, came back to the States, started getting work pretty regularly on both stage and TV, and eventually a good handful of nice film jobs. But I was starting to become aware that I needed to make some decisions as a leading lady who is starting to age, which, believe it or not, happens within about 10 years of a leading lady's
For women,
lifespan.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and that at the same time coincided with the introduction into the world of audiobooks, which had existed as recording for the blind for
Mm,
a very long time, but it began to be a consumer-driven aspect of the publishing world only in as recently as the sort of mid to late 80s, early 90s is when it really exploded. And I became an immediate fan of listening to audiobooks, commuting as I was at that time from Santa Barbara, my hometown, to Los Angeles, where I was doing television work, and realized, well, I think I could do this. How do I find out who produces these? And so
mm.
I made it my mission to find that out. And at that time, there weren't so many of us narrating, and I got a lot of work pretty quickly. And then became a mom and just stopped everything, both on camera and
That'll do it, right? I
all
mean,
right. I didn't want to be chasing down anything other than my focus on my kids. That was just it just took over. And I
chasing down only your kids, just
Right.
chasing down your kids.
Exactly.
That was a
Literally chasing them
full-time.
down. I didn't want to be chasing down jobs. I needed to chase my kids.
Right.
So it was my utter joy to take literally 20 years away and raise my kids who are now just happily off in the world and doing so well. Um,
Mhm.
so I went back to audiobooks about 5 years before I saw I was going to be an empty nester and
Mhm.
thinking, I wonder if I can get back into that. And by that time, the audiobook world had really exploded. So that
Mm.
the same conferences I had been going to before I became a mom, and where 100 narrators were reading for half a dozen producers, and we were all getting jobs from those opportunities. Those same conferences became all of a sudden they were at the Jacob Javits Center, and there were 2,000 narrators hoping to get the attention of 6 producers. And COVID hit. And
Mm.
of us who were still going to work had to become more than narrators who would go into the recording studios of publishing houses and other producers and simply read. We had to become savvy. The only ones of us who worked throughout COVID were the ones who either had, and there were very few of us who had recording studios. So I was learning how to master them myself, and
Mhm.
so I learned quite a bit about sound engineering. I have all the tools available to do that, and that's another investment is to start your own business. But it has paid off for me, and
It
I'm
is.
super busy with it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did because I found you and you produced my book and you did a beautiful job. And I'm so appreciative to have gotten to know you too a little bit in this process. So it's really nice to have had this chat and to learn more about you
Mm.
and how you got here. I hope those of you who are listening will pick up the audiobook. It's available on Audible now, but it will be more widely available. Is that correct? Soon?
It will go to Apple and Hoopla and yeah, all the platforms very, if not now, very soon.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Yeah. So please give a listen to it. And thank you, Pamela. All right.